about this city as we go through this pandemic and its resulting economic fallout. I hear from many of our constituents that they want the city back. We all want Portland back. We're going to get there, and we're going to get through this together. There's things that everybody can do right now in order to help our city get back on its feet. And the most important thing that we can do is be here for Portland, be here together. And in particular, that means supporting our small businesses in this community, not just the owners and operators of those small businesses who give tirelessly of themselves and their families, but also the employees of those businesses, many of whom are working really hard right now just to make ends meet. And so that's what the purpose of this campaign is to really highlight and focus the importance of small business, help people to really understand that it represents the heart and soul and the brand, if you will, of this community. These small businesses are what make Portland such a special place, amongst many other things, but they're certainly critical to the environment that we love about our community. And what we're asking people to do is to shop and to eat and to order locally. Let's put local first. And I want to thank everybody who's part of this important campaign. I want to thank North. I want to thank the Portland Business Alliance, Travel Portland, Prosper Portland, and all of the partners who've been engaged in this. Thank you. This is a really positive thing. The community needs it, particularly right now, and I encourage all Portlanders to stand with Portland and to support Portland and to be here for Portland. Thank you.
Thank you. And will the mayor or myself or anyone else take questions now on the topic of here for Portland?
Yeah, so first of all, let's not understate the problem. We all know that the core challenges facing this community, along with other cities, particularly on the West Coast, are the issues of safety, homelessness, and livability. And by livability, which you just referred to, I mean just the cleanliness and appearance of our streets and our public right-of-ways, the litter, graffiti, and the like. So let's not sugarcoat the reality that there is an issue there, and our administration and my city council are working hard on all of those fronts on specific initiatives, and you'll hear more in the coming weeks as I tee up my second administration or my second term. But let's also not overstate the problem. We're standing in the middle of downtown Portland right now. I walked through here. Yes, there is some graffiti. There are still businesses that are boarded up, but there's also a lot of people going about their daily lives. And there are a lot of businesses, including some right behind me, that are open. They're still accepting customers. There's plenty of parking. And I would encourage people, if they want to come down in town and check it out, come down and check it out.
Mayor, keeping with K2, in a similar vein, we know that there are some struggles right now here downtown. Just in your opinion, what do you think is the biggest challenges for businesses? Is it some of the vandalism that we've seen? Is it the pandemic? Is it dealing with homelessness?
I would say philosophically the biggest challenge is just not seeing the end. We're still in the midst of the COVID crisis. The economy is still very difficult for many people. A lot of Portlanders are struggling just to pay their rent or to keep food on the table. And that's the economic reality that we're facing. So there's nothing easy about this. But on the other hand, businesses are still open. We're still encouraging people to come downtown. We're still encouraging people throughout the community. Let's not ignore our neighborhoods, our neighborhood business districts. There's still a lot of excitement there as well. And for those who can, I encourage them to continue to focus on our local efforts here.
Mr. Mayor, it's 2:30.
So I want to intervene for one moment, and then we can answer other questions. It is now 2:30, and this is a time that's been designated nationally for local communities to ring bells, to turn on lights, and remember those who have passed as a result of the COVID pandemic. Here in the city of Portland, there will, in addition to church bells ringing, and in addition to many buildings lighting up, the convention center will be lit tonight. That's in honor and memory of the 1,800 individuals who lost their lives here in the state of Oregon to the COVID pandemic. And so I'd ask if we could just take one moment of silence right now just to acknowledge this important milestone. Thank you. And our moment of silence coincides with the lighting of the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C., where there is a national ceremony taking place at this moment. Thank you for joining me for that moment. Back to any questions you have for Andrew or for myself or anybody else.
I think we have one hand up. Sorry, first, and then, yep, sorry.
I'm sorry, can you speak up just a little? I'm having troubles hearing.
And then I'll repeat the question.
Has my office what? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so the question was, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, with the inauguration tomorrow, with the potential for demonstrations or protests, has my administration been in communication with businesses about what they could expect? The answer is yes. And in particular, not only has there been outreach to businesses, but the Portland Police Bureau has also been issuing public statements to businesses. For example, they've been asking people if they can bring in their dumpsters or lock their dumpsters down. Those sometimes get used as a target, and we would ask people to think intentionally about street furniture or other things that could potentially be misused by those who have ill intent in mind. We have been communicating directly, including myself, with our federal, our state, our county, and our local law enforcement partners to make sure that we're all on the same page about what sort of communication and collaboration is required. There's a sharing of information. We are not aware of any specific threats here in the city of Portland, but as always the case, we will be prepared for any eventuality. I'll answer the second, Andrew, maybe you can answer the first, yep. Potentially. Good. So my messages for businesses that are struggling right now is that you are not alone, that we will continue to work with you to address all of the issues, not only the COVID pandemic, and continuing to support in ways that we can support your economic resiliency and your recovery. That includes the expectation that there will be another care package through the Biden administration. In the early days of the Biden administration, will work quickly to get resources out the door, as we did with the last CARES Act dollars. We will also continue to focus relentlessly on the big three, which is making sure people are safe in our community, making sure that we have quick and humane solutions for our neighbors who are sleeping on the streets, and addressing the very real and very vexing issues around livability, litter and graffiti abatement. And what I want our local business community to know, our employers and their employees, is we see the issues in each of those areas, and we are focusing on those areas because we want your business to be here. We want you to stay in business. We want you to thrive. It's critically important to everybody in this community that we have access to shared economic prosperity, and that comes through our local businesses, particularly our small businesses, being successful. And I don't know if you have some statistics.
So good question. We'll real topically and very specifically to the downtown core, 213 blocks, right, of which we've done a survey of the actual open and closed businesses that comprise our retail core. So the experience that you would have if you're walking around, and we were able to survey around 700 plus of those businesses. 180 of them were temporarily or permanently closed, and a very small proportion of that was permanently closed. I think a lot of people temporarily shut down to just get them through these moments, and will reopen again, and we're obviously very hopeful about that. One other element that the mayor mentioned is that the CARES Act, which was also, we had 4.0 come out at the end of December, another lifeline to small businesses with the extension of PPP, which additionally helps our retail-focused areas and hospitality to stay open in these moments, and also to continue with payroll and rent payments is a big lift to our community. So the permanent closure issue is going to be one which we find out more in the months ahead. But the numbers we have now show about 180 temporarily closed in the downtown retail core, and a very small proportion of that is permanent. So it's actually a much more hopeful story in my mind. Good.
No, who's your question for?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I was just curious if you can tell me, either of you, do you hear that businesses are leaving downtown from other parts of Portland just because downtown has been so central to a lot of the issues that we've been talking about?
So I think that's one Andrew could probably feel comfortable.
Yep.
So first, I think what you look around and you say, what is the main driver of the challenges economically speaking? And that's the continued restriction around office and habitation, right? If you look at these buildings, which used to have hundreds and hundreds of people coming day in and day out, that really drove a lot of the retail activity. Right now, we're not hearing, or we are aware of, some large-scale flight of businesses to the surrounding areas. Actually, there's a lot, if you talk to any of the retailers that we do, it's actually a really hopeful story. They love downtown. They love being downtown because the mix of the folks that come here, not just from Portland, but beyond, not just tourists, but also the office workers. So there's actually a real positive, hopeful sign for downtown that the retailers are sticking it out and they want to be here and they're ready for the reopening once vaccinations get out there in widespread way and we have a containment of COVID. But that drives when these offices can reopen in a big way. But we are not hearing the wide-scale flight out of the city of Portland or out downtown for that matter. Hope that answers the question. Great. Anything else? And we can just direct it straight to the mayor. First off, just thank you, Mayor Wheeler, of course, and all of you, of course, for being out here. And I think if there's anything about a sign of how hopeful we are right now, it's the weather, which is never this nice this time of year. So I think that's a sign of all of us being here for Portland. Hope you're all well. Stay safe, be healthy, take care of one another, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.